Hello, everyone, and I'm here to talk about Treadwell, and he was cut. So after being drafted 23rd overall and in the 2016 NFL draft, the experiment has kind of ended. And obviously, he was supposed to be the guy opposite of Diggs when Diggs kind of emerged his rookie year, and it didn't really work out that way because that was when Thielen kind of really became a thing. But I do think we should actually question this one, even though I know a lot of people won't. Um, just because there was basically only him and Johnson that would actually make a play or two every once in a while in this preseason. And I think that tells you a lot about this because there's only two guys who performed, and one of them is gone. And he was actually the leading receiver among wide receivers. Brandon Dillon had more yards, but among the actual wide receiver group, Treadwell actually led the group with yards in this preseason. He caught he caught 8 of 9 targets for 89 yards and 11.1 average, and he didn't catch a touchdown, but he did have 19 yards after the catch. So not too bad. And like I said, he did lead the team among receivers, and the depth was already pretty thin to begin with. And when you look at it now, they also cut Dylan Mitchell and Brandon Zylstra. So it's only Diggs, Thielen, Johnson, and BB. That's all you got. And both Johnson and BB at one point were accused of running the wrong routes in the third preseason week. And you also had Chad Beebe dropping a pretty crucial third down pass in that whole thing. Kirk wasn't playing well that game, but the one time he was able to kind of put it on him, it was a good throw. It was actually there, and he was open, and he just flat out dropped it. So, yeah, a little concerning that we have a guy that was running the wrong routes and dropping the pass, and then you have another guy who's catching things, but he is running the wrong routes every once in a while. So, those are your options after both Diggs and Thielen, and I'm not liking that. And I do know removing Treadwell from the roster is more about what he hasn't been able to accomplish since we drafted him in the first round. But you can't tell me that isn't needed given the fact that the other two guys you can't even rely on to run the right route at all. So I just think it kind of proves that they just don't have their third guy. Like I kind of speculated that before their third guy wasn't on this roster currently, and that was like a week or two ago. But I do think this kind of confirms it, and whoever that is was probably released today. So, and the whole move with this just feels like it was more motivated just by emotion and things of that nature, which really isn't good because it should be by logic, and that's usually how you build a roster is by logic, not emotions. So I don't think that's good, and now they just made it a need to cut somebody else they didn't initially want to sign another receiver because you can't trust a guy past Thielen and Diggs. Like, could you imagine if one of those guys got hurt? I know, like, not just Thielen or Diggs, any of them. Because if you lose Chad Beebe for a little bit, all of a sudden if you lose him for like a month, like 4 games, right? All of a sudden you only have 3 receivers for 4 games. That's not good. You're pretty much relying on an entire position group to stay healthy for all 16 games, and you just cannot do that. So now you have to, instead of just cutting a guy you didn't want to, you might have to go because you had to keep one of these other guys that you didn't necessarily think was that great anyway, either Mitchell, Treadwell, or Zylstra, and now you have to go and cut that probably same guy and hopefully not spend more money than what we were going to pay Treadwell. So it just seems like this is more of a, oh no, he was just a first round bust kind of thing. Get him out of here. as opposed to could we use him? Do we need him? It didn't seem like those kind of questions were asked. Where if they were planning on doing this, I do know it's going to use more tight ends this year in the offense, but 4 receivers does feel a little light because you do go to 3 and 4 wide sets when you're talking about 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20, which is guaranteed to happen at some point due to either sacks or holdings or anything of that nature. It's gonna happen, and now we don't really have the kind of firepower to even try to attempt or even think about attempting it. So now everything's just kind of down to, well, if we get into that, we're running a draw or a screen because we literally can't really get there because we don't have enough people anymore to do that. It's a little concerning to me. And I would like to know what you guys think down in the comments below about this. I know I might be in the minority of maybe thinking getting rid of Treadwell now was a bad idea, just given the situation. Not that Treadwell was necessarily great, but I do think he might have been better than some of the options we had. And now I think this is just a thing we have to deal with, whether they go out and sign a guy like Josh Doxson now or, you know, Demarius Thomas, he was released today, or anybody else that was, cut today, which possibility, but just I'd like to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Until next time, I bid y'all adieu.